Don't get me wrong, you're a great little machine, but I miss your big brother. Oh, how time passes when you're lonely.
Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, May the 16th, 2022, vlog number 263, and it's day 797 of COVID. So let's jump right into what I have been making, and I've been a busy boy this past week. So I made this, as you can see. It is called the Peacekeeper, Piece project bag, and it's by Annie's creation. They have some really great patterns for bags. I'm sure many of you have heard about them. They're so easy to follow, and most of them come with a video that you can buy for $5 extra, an add-on, which is well worth the price, because Annie herself shows you how to put her creations together, and the videos are so well done, very professional. But anyways, I've had this pattern for a while, and I got it out the other day. I want to sort of do something a little different than what I usually work on, and this is what I did. It took me an afternoon to create. It went together very, very fast. There are parts on this that might seem a little complicated, but actually they're really, really not. They're easy. Now, my intent was to make this for my sister because she's a cross stitcher, and I thought, she'd be able to keep a current project or something in here. I don't even know if she'd want something like this. Actually, knowing my sister, probably not. She probably has something she uses already that works for her, but she's not getting it. Because I like it so much that I decided to put in the pieces for my block of the month into this. And yeah, so as I said, very easy project to create. I highly recommend By Annie. The website is byannie.com. Just go there and you can see all their products and all of their patterns and everything else. And most quilt stores too carry a variety of By Annie patterns too. So that's one thing I did. Another thing that I did, or I am working on right now, is this. Now, at first glance, you're going to say, what is that? It's not sewn together yet. It's not finished. I have finished the squares. Each one of these squares was done in the hoop in my embroidery machine, and basically it's a table runner. So I've got all the squares made. Now, this picture doesn't really show the colors very well. There's been a little bit of shift in the color. But I'll have to say that I may not be that pleased with my color selections for that matter either. I was basically using up old fat quarters that I had laying around. If anything, it is colorful. It does track the eye. Whether that's in a good way or a bad way, I'm not sure. But as I said, it's not done. And later today, I'm going to get started on sewing those squares together, and then there's a backing that has to go on it and that kind of thing. So we'll see. But I like to do in the hoop projects, and so that's why I did this. Okay, so those are the things I have been working on, and that takes me now to the YouTube channel of the week. And this is a craft one. Although I don't do these kind of crafts anymore. As you know, I'm totally into sewing and quilting. I still, every now and then, like to see what people are up to. And I came across this person. His name is Steve McDonald. He's in the UK, I believe. I think he's in the UK. At least he seems to have a British accent. But he actually, what attracted me was his title for one of his videos that happened to pop up at random, as they do on YouTube. And it was about why he was going to quit YouTube. Turns out he's not going to quit. But he was talking about some of the problems we as creators have on YouTube with trolls. Those are individuals who lurk in the background and have nothing positive to say about anything that you're doing and are just basically shit disturbers. Okay? But in the process of that, I decided to explore some of his other videos, and he's heavy into resin pouring and doing some really interesting things with resin. so interesting that I've been thinking, I think I still have some resin around here. Maybe I should try a few of these. But then that's going down a rabbit's hole again for me, as you know, when it comes to creating like fun things. But anyways, I thought for many of you out there, you may have thought about using resin in your crafting or in your art. And he's got some great ideas. So here's my review of Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts YouTube channel. This week's YouTube channel is one that I stumbled upon by accident, which is how I find most of my YouTube channels. And this one is a crafting video. And although I don't really do paper crafting much anymore, this still caught my interest because I found a video by Steve McDonald Arts and Crafts. I believe he's in Britain. Well, at least he has what sounds like a British accent to me. And he had done something that caught my attention about stopping making YouTube videos. And I found that whole discussion really interesting. So that led me to his channel to look at some of his other videos. And he's got some very neat and unique products that he creates. If you look here very quickly on the home page, he has this one, how to make a resin bowl in half the time. I wish I was still doing this kind of thing because I would definitely have tried this. This was really, really cool. But he has quite a few really interesting videos, very unusual videos about making different things that you may never have thought of before. So if we go into his video list here, you can see some of the topics come up. A simple trick to make your resin projects stand out. An experiment to see if you can use stamps in resin. So if you're into resin, he's got a lot of videos about that. This was the video that caught my attention, why I nearly quit YouTube as a crafter. He does share some very interesting things that I've experienced over time as well when I'm doing my channel. Let's take a look at his playlists and see what he has here as well, how he organizes things. So he has members only, setting up a small business, polyurethane resin, resin kits, projects, Halloween resin projects. He does a lot of resin. He likes resin. Health and safety, how to make silicone molds, crafts from drink cans, how to use flowers in resin. Yeah, he's definitely a resin king, I would think. But very interesting videos. He's a bit quirky, but that makes it even more interesting. So, check out Steve McDonald Arts and Crafts. So the link for Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts channel is in the show notes below. There's the link for this week's Stephen and Walter Live, and as we usually do, we went off on all kinds of different tangents, and that is just fine. And yeah, there's a link to some of my videos from last week, the Idiot Quilter episode 166, I called What New Hell Is This? And I've had over 3,000 views on that particular video. And I don't know, and I'll be honest, I don't know if it's because of the title. I try not to make titles that are clickbait, okay? Because who likes clickbait? But I try to make titles that, are interesting. And they are titles that have something to do with the content of the video. So, I hope people don't think I'm just doing clickbait. But I'm really surprised at the number of views I'm getting on my videos lately. And I've got to thank you out there, the viewers. If you're hitting the like button, that seems to work. Yeah, I'm not one of those kind of people, this, who says, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the like button, give me a thumbs up. But lately I have been saying that, and it has somehow gotten, I don't know how the algorithm works with YouTube. For some reason, it's attracting more people to my channel. And that makes me happy that more people come to the channel. Like, okay, it means you love me. You really, really love me. Well, okay, whatever. So check out What New Hell Is This? There's also, I did an interview with a really interesting person from the UK as well, Adam Burch of Adam Sews. The link to Adam's interview is there. Do check it out. He's fascinating, and I'm hoping that someday we'll be able to do some form of a collaboration together as well. In fact, Adam, for those of you that were on Stephen and Walter live yesterday, Adam was in the conversation on the live and was participating, and that was great to see. You know, it's too bad Adam lives over in the UK and we're far apart, because he is somebody I'd love to do lunch with, and or drinks or something, because I just find him a very interesting gentleman. So do check out the interview. And there is our latest So Chatty, episode 57. This is where I talked a little bit about some Eureka moments I've had about sewing, and Walter's talked about some of his latest projects, and our little adventure to triangle sewing in Guelph, that kind of thing. So check that out. And we have a little video within the video on that one too, as a matter of fact, about our trip to triangle sewing in Guelph, Ontario. Okay, so that takes me now to looking out my window, and today's a little overcast. We've been enjoying some very nice weather in the past week. I took this at 7:50 this morning. You can see it's a bit overcast. It looks like in the forecast, possibility of some showers. Look at our tree. And I know it's a little dark, but the tree is completely leafed out. Last week I showed you the picture, and this tree was budding, but now we've had all last week, we had really nice weather, and of course that makes everything go nuts, and the tree is out in full bloom, which is great. And you can see our grass is green. Everybody's grass in the neighborhood is very green. And I just realized this shot, the camera must have gotten moved a little bit, because usually you can see our driveway, and this is looking more up our street, but that's okay, a little different perspective. Yep, so summer is coming, and next weekend is the long weekend here in Canada, the Victoria weekend, we call it, or May 2-4, and that's the unofficial start of summer. Of course, summer, according to the solstice and things, is June the 21st, but May the 24th is when we as Canadians consider summer has arrived. And well, we basically try to eke out as much warm weather as we can possibly get, because if May is cool and June's a bit cool, we only have two months of summer, July and August, for hot weather. And I'm hoping this is going to be a warm summer, nice and sunny would be nice, and that kind of thing this year. But it is what it is. It's summer in Canada. So, yeah. So this coming weekend's long weekend, as I said, people go up to their cottages, get them all opened up for the year, things like that. People go out and get their plants, because the rule around here is you shouldn't be planting anything until the 24th of May, just in case of frost. You can have frost after the 24th of May too. It's a little bit more rare, but it has happened. And Walter's already gone out and bought some plants and things for our garden. And when I say our garden, I mean our container garden. We don't really have a garden. We plant everything in big containers on our deck. And because we have a lot of wildlife in our backyard, bunnies, squirrels, chipmunks, for example, who love to destroy a garden, if we keep it up on the deck, they don't seem to be able to get up there. Now, the squirrels can, but they don't seem to bother anything. The chipmunks, I think they're just lazy. They'd rather go for the cherry tomatoes we plant in big, huge containers down in our backyard, and, they sit there and wait for them to ripen, and then take big bites out of them and throw them all over the yard. One bite tomatoes for them, little varmints. They're so cute, though. They are, but they're destructive little guys. And so we grow everything up on our deck, and I can't wait once we get it all planted and coming on, because there's nothing I like more than picking all the stuff fresh for a salad from my garden. We grow lettuce all summer long in containers. It turns out great. We have herbs, and I throw those into a salad. We have cherry tomatoes. We try peppers. We don't have a lot of luck with peppers, but maybe this year we'll be better at that. And a couple of other things we grow out there too, as well as some flowers and things. So, it looks really quite nice on our deck as well. And Yeah, it's delicious too, on top of it all. Um, so yeah, we're getting on to all of that. And so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week. Well, nothing too serious. I mean, the world pisses me off. Doesn't it piss us all off? It's been bad. Not just in the last few months, in the last couple of years. This, the economy right now sucks. Gas prices, oh my God. Who would have ever thought we'd see gas prices here in our own country over $2 a liter? You know? And for you Americans to put that in perspective, because I know you're being affected as well, everybody in the world is. Our gas is still more expensive than yours because basically, roughly, 4 liters equals an American gallon. Not quite, but pretty close to that. So $8 a gallon, Canadian, for Americans, okay? Well, it's a little less than American money. So maybe it's coming out to about the same, because I think I've seen on the news that the gas in the United States is around $6 and something a gallon. So I suppose when you do the conversion, we're really not that much more. Yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live, Adam mentioned in the UK it was something like £1.93 or something like that, and we worked it out, and oh my God, that is like a lot more money than it is here in Canada. So I guess we've got it good. And of course, the stock market is like down, and they're talking recession, and it is not a happy world right now, is it? I mean, the things going on with the Ukraine and who knows. So, on top of all of this, what comes to my door this week? Door-to-door salespeople. Now, that was one advantage of COVID, okay? They didn't seem to come around as often as they did before. They're the people trying to sell you lawn care products, like the Weed Man. Good God, I first heard it was the Weed Man. I thought they were going door to door selling marijuana. Well, it wasn't that kind of weed, apparently. Too bad. Yeah, we don't deal with the Weed Man because, quite frankly, in our experience with those kind of people, they're taking you for a ride. It doesn't do much for your lawn, and Walter would rather do it himself. I'd rather have the whole front lawn paved. That's my idea of a perfect lawn. But Walter's not up for that. So you get those. You get the Jehovah Witnesses who are coming and trying to push their thoughts on you. Actually, we don't get them very often because something I said to them many, many years ago when we first moved into this house, and I think from that day on, they have marked us as devil's spawn and just keep on going, which is fine by me. But then you get other ones who are trying to sell you meat. Door-to-door meat. Would you buy meat from a door-to-door salesman? Actually, funny story. Walter didn't want me to do this, but I did it. I said, they were offering you, if you listen to their spiel, they came in and talked to you about their products, and it was one of those kind of clubs where, for thousands of dollars every month, you got an order of meat of some kind, fresh from the cow kind of a thing or whatever. But if you listen to their spiel, you got a free sample, 1 pound of ground meat, hamburger. Okay. So I wanted the free meat. So the guy came in and gave us a spiel for 45 minutes. We said, no, give me my meat. Kind of nasty, aren't I? Yeah, well, I got free meat. It wasn't that good anyway. So that was some time ago, some years ago. But I mean, it's just the variety of things. Then you got the charities, right? They come door to door. And, the cancer people. Well, I don't know if they come door to door much anymore because they have their little runs and cycling things and whatnot. And what pisses me off about those groups now, and it's just not the cancer group, it's all of those kind of health ones. Yeah, they have these relays and everything. But you can get into them if you have a minimum of something like several $1,000s. You create a team. You raise this money and you buy your way into this thing. they're not interested in taking $5 or $10 at the door anymore. So that's kind of cut down that kind of thing. They want thousands, or they're not going to deal with you. All right, fine. Guess what? You're not getting any money from me then, because I'm not giving you several $1,000s like that off the bat. No. And then, of course, you've got the ones that come door to door, home renovations, window and door people. Actually, that's what we're got to look into real soon here, because we need some new windows in our house. But everybody, they come door to door. With COVID hit, they stopped coming. That was nice. Now they started to use the phone more, or of course, the modern way, the internet, but they weren't coming to the door. Well, the other day, the doorbell rang, and there were a couple of young people, looked like probably university students, probably, for the summer, trying to earn some money, and I don't hold that against them. I was a university student once, too. I had to work in the summer to pay for tuition, so I get it. But they're wearing their little badge, right? And it says they're from Rogers. First thing I said when I opened the door is, hi. Oh, and they're cheery, and they're bubbly, and they're attractive little couple, guy and a girl, and the whole bit. And they're just springy, bouncy, kind of a thing. Yeah, I blew the air right out of their sail at that point. I go, hi, yeah, what are you selling? Well, and they start to go on their spiel, but I see that one of them's wearing a little badge that says Rogers. Rogers is one of the telecommunication companies here in our province. In Canada, there's only really two main providers of internet and television service, Rogers and Bell. We have Bell. Rogers is the other one. And yeah, I know they're going to give me a spiel. Not interested. So I figured I'll save them some time. Say, yeah, I see you're from Rogers. I'm not interested. Thanks. My provider is Bell. I'm happy with them. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Goodbye. And shut the door. I didn't slam it. I just shut it. And off they went. Because, why waste your time with them? And why waste their time? I'm not interested. And it doesn't matter what they're going to tell me. I'm not going to change, because I used to deal with that one particular company and I hated them, and I still do. And not that I'm very fond of the one I have right now, but like I said, it's basically a monopoly here in Canada. You only have two choices. So there you go. Yeah, some people will write me a comment and go, yeah, but there's other ones like TELUS and that kind of thing. Guess what? They're owned by the other two. Yeah. It's called a monopoly, but somehow they get around monopoly laws. If we even have monopoly laws, I'm not sure. So anyways, that kind of pisses me off. You're still coming to my door. And the other thing that pissed me off too was during the first part of COVID, when people were still sort of going door to door, they were respecting the guidelines. They were staying off my front step, so they were a good 2 meters away from me, and they were wearing masks. This young couple were not wearing a mask, and they were right in my face, right at the door. Yes, I know. In Ontario, they have relaxed the rules on that. It's up to the individuals to decide whether or not they have a mask. But, if you are a company, I would think it would be very wise for the company to suggest to their people that are going door to door like that they still wear a mask. We are not done with this thing yet, But leave me alone. Get off my property. If I want one of your services, I'll contact you. I'm really aware of who you are, okay? In this day and age of internet, and every time you turn on your computer and you go into Google, you're going to get an ad for something somewhere in whatever you're doing. So, and there's the phone. They still call. So I don't need you. And I don't like to be rude to them, because I understand, especially in the case of these young people, they're just trying to make a buck. They're just trying to survive. I get that. So I try not to be rude, but I try to be firm. I look them in the eye and go, hi, yeah, I'm really not interested. Thank you so much. Goodbye. And shut the door. Because I don't want to waste their time. And I don't want my time wasted either. So anyways, that's about the only thing that's pissed me off this week. And that's kind of a minor thing, because we've all lived through this, right? We all have our strategies for dealing with door-to-door salespeople. Okay, so that takes me to product review. As I said earlier, we went to a place in Guelph. Guelph is a city, a small city, about 2 hours west of us, west of Toronto. It's actually where I went to university because they have a big, huge university there, the University of Guelph. And that's where I got my first degree. And I loved the 4 years I spent at Guelph. I loved the university, and the town is really nice. It's a nice area, I think, to live in if you wanted to. I'm not moving, but it is a nice area out there. So we went. It was a nice day, and I said to Walter, we've been talking about checking out this particular fabric store because the guy that Walter was doing the 5-day workshop with, Ron Collins, he teaches classes there on a regular basis and has for a long, long time. And this place has been around for many, many, many years. I think Ron mentioned he's been teaching there for 22 years. He says this doesn't look like much from the outside, but they have a huge classroom area, and it sounded like this place had a lot to choose from. No, it did not. It was not worth the trip to Guelph. Well, we had a nice day out. We went to a patio and had lunch and that kind of thing. We haven't done that in donkey's age. So that was okay. But really, now what they did have, they seemed to have a huge selection of sewing machines. And they had every brand under the sun. They had Brother, Janome, Husqvarna, Bernina, all that kind of thing. And it looked like they serviced them right on site too. So that was, if you're looking for a new sewing machine, you're in that area, that might be a good place to go and take a look. But as far as fabric selection was concerned, not much. Prices were average, $18.99 on average per meter. That's about the going price these days. I did buy, and I'll show it to you here, I did buy a few things while I was there, only because I felt sorry for them. Because I don't know how much fabric they sell, but really, not much there to choose from. So here we go. I saw that they had wide back fabric, and of course I like to use wide back fabric for my backings on my quilts. And they didn't have a huge selection of designs to pick from, so I picked these two because, well, of course, blue I'm always attracted to, and it might be nice to have a little red for variety. Now, when I first looked at the bolts of these, I thought it said $21.99 a meter. And I thought, God, that's a good price for wide back. But then I realized, no, I think part of the number got erased. It was $28.99 a meter. So I did buy 6 meters, 3 meters of each of these. That price is not as good as what Shirley at Ultimate Sewing has. Hers was around $24 a meter. But lately her supply has been a bit low on the wide backs, but I know she's getting more in. And just like everybody else, there's a problem with, getting stuff from your suppliers right now. Seems to be the war cry of commerce these days. But anyways, I bought these and they'll do. And I got some of this stuff. Now, I was talking earlier about the Peacekeeper bag that I made. It's a By Annie design. And one of the products that By Annie sells is Soft and Stable. Now, I've never had Soft and Stable before. I've heard about it. It has a very good reputation. The problem is, nobody around me really sells it. Although Walter tells me he thinks that maybe Ultimate Sewing does sell it by the meter, which I didn't know. So the next time in Ultimate Sewing, I'm going to ask about that. But in the meantime, this store had a good selection of Soft and Stable. So I picked up this package. It was the largest package. They didn't seem to sell it by the meter. They just had it in pre-made packages. And this was 72 inches by 58 inches. So I picked some up for future By Annie bag projects that I have in mind. I mean, I've got several patterns. I haven't got around to doing them yet. I also picked up some of their lightweight mesh fabric. They had a good selection of colors. I picked up 4 colors, a yellow, a purple, a black, and a red. I have some mesh here that I bought from Cleaner Supply out west. I bought it in bulk, but it's only in white, and it's what I used on the front of that Peacekeeper bag, and it worked really well. But I thought while I was there, I'd pick up some of By Annie's, because there it was. So I did. Now, the funny thing was, I didn't at first pick these up. I mean, you can see the price, $66. on the soft and stable. So it isn't cheap. But I thought, you know, well, actually, let me back up. We were paying for our purchases. Walter bought some fabric and that kind of thing. And she asked us if we wanted one of their customer loyalty cards. And after you filled a card, you got $25 back or off whatever you were buying in another purchase. And at first we said no, because we pretty much figured we're never coming back here, you know, or that kind of thing. Or I shouldn't say never come back there as though that's, you know, there was something about them we didn't like. No, we might, you know, if we're in the area, we might drop in again, kind of thing. But it wouldn't be frequent enough that we'd ever fill up the card. Well, we thought. But she said to me as she says, do you want, we decided then to get a card. She says, you can combine your orders if you want on one card. And I said, okay, what the heck? And, well, she filled out the card. Well, right off the bat, we filled the whole card because of what we had bought, and we could get $25 off on a future order. Now, I asked them if that applied to their online site. Online site is the word I want, yes. And they don't have a really great online site, but you can also call them and order things like that. She says, actually, she says, I don't know how we do that. I guess they weren't set up electronically for that or whatever. But then I said, well, if I bought something else here right now, can I use the card today? And sure. So I thought, what the heck? Let's put it towards the soft and stable. So that's what I did. So instead of $66, the soft and stable only cost me like, what, 43 or something like that? You can do the math. 41? Yeah, 41. Yeah, whatever, plus tax. So I thought, what the heck, might as well use it then. So that's why basically I bought the soft and stable, because I was getting $25 off. Okay. So I have this now in my stash of things for a future bag project, whenever that will be. And as I said, yeah, that's all we bought when we were there. And then we had lunch, and it was a pleasant day out. When the weather gets warmer, I want to travel. And that's, we're talking about possibly in the summer, if the weather's nice, depending on the whole issue with COVID and the whole bit, we might actually drive down to the East Coast. We haven't been there in many years. And, you know, for a trip, because we're not flying anywhere right now. I'm still not comfortable with the whole idea of being stuck in a tin tube, breathing everybody else's air that's gone through their lungs. Okay, so that takes me to what's been happening on the 3D corner. All right, so I made some Moon Knight figures. So let me just see if I'll show you what I mean. There's this Marvel's television program on Disney Plus called Moon Knight. We just finished watching it. Amusing little time waster, you know, and for those people that are into the Marvel universe, I'm sure that you probably enjoyed it. But it has a basis in Egyptology kind of a thing. There's characters that come from ancient Egypt. So this is one of the characters. I forget, is this Ahmed or Pusha something or other? I don't know what their names are. So they're all the rage right now on 3D printing sites, and you can get them. So I downloaded one, printed that guy, and I printed a couple of others. So you can see here, and I now have them on my wall on my infamous 3D printed hexagon shelves. I love those things. And they're sitting up on a wall, and this is Moon Knight, the character himself in it, I guess. And yeah, they printed out kind of cool. So just, you know, toys for big boys, as I've said before. I've also been ordering some filament. Now, I want to talk a little bit about customer service, because I have talked about this before, and you know I'm all about the thing that gets me as a repeat customer is if I get good customer service. You know, that above anything else, even more so than price, is great customer service. Well, there's a company out in BC, Canada, and British Columbia, called M3D, Matter 3D. They make filament. Their filament is excellent. I've ordered from them several times before. I love their filament. And now they're getting more colors in. So 2 weeks ago or so, I ordered a big batch of filament. I haven't got it yet. It's supposed to arrive today. But I was a little concerned about the shipping delay because it's coming by a UPS. And yes, I know shipping companies right now are not shipping as efficiently as they used to. And I put that in quotation marks because it's hit and miss, with most of these places, especially UPS. I hate UPS for a number of reasons. Don't get me going. But anyways, that's how they ship it. So I'm checking out my order, and I'm not seeing any movement. I did have a tracking number. They sent me a tracking number for UPS, but it's been sitting in Richmond, BC forever. And I'm thinking, how long is this going to come? Well, finally, the tracking, they gave me a date, May the 16th. That's today. But I've ordered this May the 1st. Now, I knew there was a little bit of a problem. A couple of the colors were on back order, and I wrote to them about that, and they told me, yeah, they were getting them in within days, and they did with all of that. So I'm assuming the problem is with UPS. And I thought, I'm going to write to the company and let them know, because they probably don't know. And, people get really uptight about when they've put out money for a product and it's not coming as quickly as they would like, and that might reflect back on the company. And as I said, I really think this company is a great company. So I wrote to them to let them know. I got a phone call from Aman. Aman is the CEO of the company. It's not a huge company. And he was very apologetic about it, but he not only did he apologize for how long it's taking, he did know about UPS, but he did not blame it on UPS. He blamed it on themselves, and he explained to me exactly how it all worked. And he wasn't bullshitting me either. He said I could, he said. And he says I could easily blame it on UPS, but he says that would be dishonest. And I really appreciated his honesty and his candidness about how it all works, and within his explanation of the whole thing, it made absolute sense to me. And I wasn't in any rush anyways for it, so I wasn't concerned. What I was more concerned about was that maybe they didn't realize that the carrier they're going through might be causing some anguish for them as a company. So that was really nice of him. I mean, he reached out, he called me. He didn't send me an email. He could have sent me an email, but he didn't. He called me, and we had a really nice conversation. That is not the first time a man has called me. He has called me before. He has called me to see if everything was fine with my shipment, just out of the blue, after it came. That is a nice touch. That is really a nice touch. He also told me where I could get their products in Ontario at the same price, which I did not know. I've been ordering it directly from them, and they're actually sell it as wholesaler, and they have distributors, different companies. So the next time I checked out the company he sells it with, 3D Printing Canada. I've been on their website before, but I've never ordered anything from them. But I checked out their website the other day, and they have a really, really great selection of all kinds of different 3D filaments. So if you're into 3D printing, you might want to check them out. Their prices are fair. I mean, I've been buying most of my filament online on Amazon. Well, no. And this company offers free shipping over, I think, about $125. Well, that's not hard to do when you're buying filament. And I usually, when I buy filament, I usually buy a lot of it at one time. So that's okay. I can handle that. And we'll see what shipping's like with them. So I can get Matter 3D through them for the same prices I'm paying going directly to Matter 3D. So that was good information. So I'm glad that Aman shared that with me. Now, the other thing I want to talk about briefly is problems with printers. Now, there are all kinds of problems with 3D printers. If you do not own one, I've said this before, they are not plug and play. You will have to tinker with them, and you will continue to tinker with them, and things on them go. I stockpile basic parts like nozzles, hot ends, things like that, besides just filament, because I am constantly having to tinker and repair my systems, because that's just the nature of the beast. And if I do say so myself, I've gotten very good at doing that. So I had a problem with one of my printers. It's ironic. It's my newest printer, and it's the one that's giving me the most problems. The one I got second hand, that's version 1 of the Creality Ender 3s. Never has given me the least number of problems. And my older machine, my very original Ender 3 printer, version 2, gives me problems every now and then. But it's the newest one that gives me the most problems for some reason. But you want to know something? I've figured this out. Don't cheap out on parts. Okay? I have found that first of all, if I have clogs in my nozzle, it's usually that my nozzle has done its time. It's time for a new nozzle. Nozzles are not expensive. So just replace the sucker. It doesn't take much to replace it. Don't be trying to stick things up the nozzle hole or in it and play around with that. This is the major problem I have found with 3D printers, is that the brass nozzles they melt down. They basically get rough spots on them because filament is rough going through them, and they wear out. And if you do as much 3D printing as I do, they wear out on a regular basis. So have a good supply of those on hand. The other thing is your Bowden tube. This is the tube that the filament runs through and goes into the hot end. You wouldn't think this would be a problem, and I use Capri tube. It's a little better than it's a blue tube. It's better than the white tube usually because it can withstand higher temperatures. But they still will degrade with the temperature going through, and your end usually gets blocked up and your filament can't get through, and that causes a clog. So again, something that is very easy to replace, to fix, and have some of it on hand. You know, I buy it in 3-meter lots, and that does me for a while. Again, something that isn't all that expensive, and it's good to have. The other thing you want to have in stock are nozzles, or not nozzles, couplers. You need a coupler at the extruder end and the hot end. And again, another device, another piece that is very inexpensive. Stockpile them. All of these things I buy on Amazon. Okay? Now there's other more elaborate things. But what I have found is if I've replaced the nozzle and I've replaced the Bowden tube and I'm still having a problem, it means there's a problem with the hot end. A little bit more involved in replacing it, a little bit more expensive, about $30 for a new one of those. But I try to keep a couple of them on hand at all times. And they take a little bit of time to replace, not a lot. And once you've done it a couple of times, it's pretty easy. Replace it. Just get over the fact that this is a major piece of it is the most central part probably of your 3D printer. Just replace it. You'll be happy you did. And then most of your problems are done at that point. And just be prepared for the fact that this is ongoing. You will have to replace parts on a regular basis. So yes, does this get a little pricey? I guess it does. But again, it's a hobby. All hobbies cost money. It costs me money to buy fabric, and I'm buying fabric all the time. It costs me money to buy thread. It costs me money to maintain my machines. All hobbies cost money. So if you're going to get into these things, be prepared for that. If this is a problem for you financially, it's a worry, don't get into it. Just expect this to happen. So anyways, those things that I have learned right now about 3D printing. And I've been doing 3D printing now for what? About 1.5 years. And I've learned a lot. And I love it. And I'm still toying with the idea of actually branching out and buying another printer, but a different company. Maybe a little bit more expensive, but that one I'm a little bit afraid of because I've had very good luck with the Ender 3 printers. If I was to buy another one, Ender 3 has come out with a couple of new ones in the last little while. I've been watching the reviews on them and they're mixed. And in fact, nothing seems to stand up from what I've been seeing on reviews for the price like an Ender 3 version 2. That seems to be the best one on the market right now. Now, I know people who know about 3D printing are going to argue with me about that. But from my experience, I have really, after I got over the frustration level, and there was, and for a while, quite a while, I really do like the Ender 3, Reality Ender 3 version 2. For the money, I think it's one of the best ones on the market. Okay, so I am not paid by Cruelty. If they want to pay me, that would be nice, but they're not going to. Nobody pays me. Nobody. Okay, Blasts from the Past. That takes us to the second part of the Victor Harbor trip that we did in Australia on February the 14th, 2018. I'm going to insert that here.
Okay, so we made it to Victor Harbor, and we're outside of the hotel we're staying in. I'll get a picture of it later. We're a little early. It's called the Anchorage. And we're a little early, so we can't check out until 2. So we thought we'd have lunch while we're here. So we're getting a couple of pizzas and a couple of beers. And we'll see from there. But here you've got a bit of a view of the ocean. We're supposed to have a balcony, which I'm assuming is what's up the top of there. Yeah. The balconies don't look like they're really private balconies. Oh, but they look like a long terrace. I don't know. Hard to tell from there, but that's okay. We're only here one night. So, it was a bit of a journey getting here, but we're here now. So, and I think we're close to where their little downtown might be, so yeah, we can explore that later too. Okay, just had a little accident. There's tomato on the pizza. I picked up one, I bit into the tomato, and it just blew up all over Walter on his shirt, his pants. He's not happy about that. Right now, I wouldn't be either, but I'm just doing what he would do. I'm laughing. Okay, this is where we're staying, and they're very nice. However, we made reservations for the restaurant inside tonight for 7:30. They do have a special menu, plus you can order off the regular menu. They have kangaroo on it and a lot of seafood, so we won't be having that, so I guess we'll be probably ordering off the regular menu, but I did notice they had a steak on there, so we might have that. Yeah, it'll probably be okay. They seem a little disorganized in the kitchen area, because when I said, what's this, do you have tonight a special menu? And she thought they did, but she had asked the cook because he hadn't written it out yet. So, anyways, it's kind of a neat little place. It's an older hotel. It's got some personality to it. And we do have a private balcony. We're right down there on the very far end, up at the top. So we've got a view of the ocean. So that's kind of nice too. Okay, so this is downtown, or the town center of...
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, we haven't got there yet? Oh, well, this is not quite the downtown center yet of Victoria Harbor, or Victor Harbor. Yeah, so...
No, Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria, whatever. Well, I'll just hold off and take some more video when I come to the main downtown. So this is the downtown part of Victor Harbor. Little shops and restaurants and things like that. Quaint little place. Has a shopping center too. We were just in there. Gotta get some booze. And here's just another perspective. There's sort of downtown. There's not a lot here, really. And the stores that are here are kind of like...
There's White Rabbit Adult Boutique.
Ooh, where down? It's really more geared to everyday buying, but I've noticed a lot of the people on the streets here are kind of senior citizens. So I wonder if it's a retirement community.
Well, mind you, it's also during the day.
Well, that could be. Okay, so this is the beach, or the coastline, down here in Victor Harbor. As you can see, I suppose you could down there, if you wanted to go swimming, you probably could. I'm probably picking up all the wind in this, so you probably can't hear most of this, but so just enjoy the view without a commentary. Okay, so this is called Granite Island and it has a causeway to it for pedestrians, and so we're gonna walk across to Granite Island. Why are we doing this? Because there's not a heck of a lot of anything else to do. And here's a little closer look near the end of the causeway to Granite Rock, or Granite Island. Was it rock or island? Granite Island. Right. Tide comes in, tide goes out. Tide comes in, tide goes out. I have no idea whether the tide's coming in or going out. And that's where we came from, and that's where we're going back to. So after our brisk little walk out on that causeway to Granite Island, which was about 0.9 of a kilometer each way, we're now sitting on the balcony of our spa room at the Anchorage Inn, having a beer. And then later, it's Din Din's. Okay, we just came back from dinner in the dining room here, Valentine's Day. They were doing sort of a special evening of that. They had a special menu. But you could pick from the regular menu. The special menu had a lot of seafood and fish and kangaroo. We did not have the kangaroo because I have no idea what they would have charged for the kangaroo, but from what we're seeing here is kangaroo is, I think, an acquired taste, to be quite frank about it. From what we know, is a little on the tough side and a bit gamey from what we've heard, and that was from natives. But anyways, the one thing I'll say about them is they're so friendly, but they have very different ideas of what service is when it comes to the food industry from what we're used to in Canada. They're very nice. They're used to people coming up to the counter and ordering their food, getting a number, and then they bring it to you. But tonight they were doing sort of a special service where they actually came to your table and took the menu. And they were a little, or your order, they were a little disorganized. Like we ordered some, what they called warm bread with balsamic vinegar and olive oil and something else that I don't know what they called it, but it was granular kind of stuff. It was sort of a spice mix, wasn't it? Or,
Yeah.
which I think what you were supposed to do is, I think you were supposed to dip your bread, like what we have at
I
home.
tried that. And it was okay, but I didn't really care
Yeah,
for the
I tried a
flavor
little
that
bit by
much.
trip, but the balsamic vinegar and olive oil were in a little pot, a little saucer, as opposed to, well, not even a saucer, in a,
In a pot, like it was like in a jar type thing.
so it
And-
didn't mix. I even tried to stir it around to get the oil and the
Yeah.
vinegar to mix
Well,
together.
at home when they do that, they put it in a flat plate.
Yeah, so
So-
that it, because it's oil
Yeah.
and it's vinegar, they don't mix very well. Like they have to emulsify, and the only way you can get them to emulsify is to put them in a shaker and shake them. But when they do this at home, like Walter says, they put it on a flat saucer plate, so that they don't really mix. But when you dip the bread in, you get both some of the balsamic vinegar and the oil. In this, all you got was
oil.
because the balsamic vinegar
Sunk to
sunk
the
right to the
bottom.
bottom. I even tried to stir it up with a fork to get it going, and that didn't work. And I can't say that I cared for the taste of the olive oil they used. Their olive oil seemed to be kind of a heavy olive oil,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But then that just may be because that's what olive oil here is like, so fine. The bread was very nice, though. I'll say that. It was nice and warm, and it was fresh and the whole bit, and they probably make it here or whatever, so that was okay. But no side plates. I mean, we sat at the table. There
you know, it's Valentine's Day night, and they have signs all over about book early for Valentine's Day and the whole bit. So you think it might be a little bit more special. So they might have like tablecloths. Not that I need a tablecloth. I mean, I don't care about that. But I'm thinking for guys that might be bringing their wives or their girlfriends for this out, you know, when you want to be a little bit more special, I mean, the prices are not particularly cheap. So, I mean...
No, I don't think the prices were really
Well, they
cheap.
weren't out of the way. But we ended up having the steak. And it came with what they call roasty or
Roasty potatoes or something.
potatoes, which we've had before, which are kind of
Yeah.
like a thick scallop potato that may have been, I don't know, fried a little bit. They come in cubes. They're actually quite tasty. Although the ones we had tonight, they almost...
They didn't look too pleasant. It was
No.
sort of a chunk on your plate, but it tasted okay.
Yeah, this tastes okay. And the steak came, and we ordered the medium rare, and then I got thinking afterwards, ooh, that might have made a bit of mistake because it might come blue, and I don't want blue with it. I should have ordered it medium. But, no, it was a surprise. The steak was good. It had a peppercorn sauce with it, which was tasty too, nice. And it didn't say it was going to come with steamed vegetables. It was broccoli, which was fine because I kind of wanted some vegetables because we haven't eaten a lot of vegetables and fruit on this trip. But that was nice. That was okay. But the other thing was, we were told if we made a reservation tonight in the restaurant because it's a special night and because we have a spa room, we would get a free glass of wine. So when we went into the dining room earlier and made the reservation, I did mention that to the girl. She didn't seem to know anything about it, but she was very nice about it. She said, well, I'll check that out. I said, well, it was the lady at the front desk and whatnot. And she went right out and checked it. She said, oh yes, make a note of it and the whole bit. But they're a little disorganized. As I said, I don't think they're used to doing table service at all. So I think it was throwing them tonight when they were doing that. So I had to mention to them again about the wine, and it made me feel a little uncomfortable because, you know, you feel like you're being a cheapskate because they've offered you a free glass of wine, but they're the ones that offered it. So I figured now what a glass of wine costs. So anyways, we got that. It's the only choice we had was their house wine, which was a Shiraz, and it was fine. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't that great. But if we'd ordered that by the bottle, it would have been $40 a bottle for it, which
$9 a glass.
yeah, well, $8.50 a glass is what it worked out. Well, that's what. Okay, well, we'll come to that. Anyways, we were going to order a bottle of wine at first, and I said to Walter, you know, I have a feeling by the time we see the wine, we get it and the whole bit, because the way they're doing things, maybe it's not really worth ordering a bottle. I mean, we could get them by the glass. And I said, drink slowly. And needless to say, it did not take long for dinner. And that was fine. So we just had the one glass of wine. So when I went up to the bar to pay, because that's how you do it, I could have put it on through the room, but I figured if I did that, I pretty much figured they would charge me for the wine, just because they seemed to be very confused about that. And I'm glad that I did pay it up front and not put it on the bill, because it was $101, and then walked out there and I got doing the math in my head. The steaks were $35. We got a bottle of sparkling water. I'm not sure how much they charged for that, but even if they charged like $8, $10 for that, and then and that was all we had. Oh, and the bread. And the bread was what? $8? $6? Okay. So, okay, do the math. 2 steaks, $35 a piece, $70. Add the bread, $76. Remember, everything already includes tax, the whole bit at that. So the bill came to, oh, and then we had the sparkling water, which we're not sure how much that was. But even if the sparkling water was $10, that would put it at $86. I paid $101.50. Now, I did see on the bottom of the menu that it said on public holidays there was a 1.5% surcharge on stuff, because you see, you don't tip them here. So maybe for public holidays that's extra because maybe it's more work for them, the whole bit, and that's fine. Now, Valentine's Day is not a public holiday. However, I wouldn't have been surprised if they, considered it still a special occasion because they were doing table service sort of a thing, that they would have charged us, and that would have been fine. But the math didn't add up, so I went right back in and I said to her, by chance, I said, did you happen to charge us for the glasses of wine? Well, she was still a little confused, but she looked up, she says, oh yeah, and she says, that's right, I forgot. Very nice, very apologetic, no complaints whatsoever about the people serving us, because they couldn't be nicer. I just felt really cheap. But, that was $17. Like, it was $8.50 for each glass of wine, so $17. So anyways, she gave me, now I paid on my credit card with it. She wasn't really sure how to do a reverse charge on the whole bit, and I sympathize with her because it's not easy to do it. I know from working in retail too with that wasn't going to work. So she just gave it to me in cash, and that's fine, whatever. But the bottom line is, the steaks were good, the wine was so-so, but that it's always a hit and miss with wine, depending, unless you know of what you're getting, you know the brand. So I'm not holding that against anybody. A little disorganized. Like I've always said, the Australians are wonderful people, but they're just a little rough around the edges with it all. So I don't know, Walter said it must shock them or something. If they ever come to our country, I wonder wonders how they cope. Like, because we do things so differently from that. It must put them right off. Of course, it'll probably put them off when they find out see the prices in a menu.
And then you get a 13%
and then they get a bill and go,
and then they still
expect the tip. Yeah, so that must be a shocker to their system too as well. But anyways, it is what it is. Not the worst I ever had, not the best. It was a lot better than that Best Western we stayed in 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
That food was crap.
That food was awful.
Yeah. So anyways, just a word of advice to friends out there who are, in North America. It's a little different here. So, but that's fine. That's why you travel, to experience different things. Okay. That's enough for today. Tomorrow, where are we going tomorrow?
We're going to Eureka or something.
Oh, what's there?
That's the Vineland Hotel in Barossa Valley where all the
the wineries are. Yeah. So now we'll get to taste some other different wines and see what that's all about. So anyways, yes, this is wine. It's in a tumbler. Don't ask.
So that takes me to events in the past week. Well, my M7, my sewing machine, is in the shop. I did something stupid. I broke it. I think I screwed up my feed dogs, basically. Long story short, I'll go into more details on the idiot quilter about this, but I tried to hem a pair of jeans, and it got a little thick in one spot, and I knew it was going to be a problem, but I just carried on anyways, broke 2 needles, and did something to my feed dogs. So it needed to go in anyways for an annual cleanup, tune-up, and all that kind of stuff. So in it went last Tuesday to Ultimate Sewing, and I'm hoping I get it back this week, and I probably should get it back this week. Don't know how much that one's going to cost me, but I know it's going to be a minimum of $100 because just for cleaning alone and that's what it is. But again, like I said, when you buy things for your hobby and you have equipment, you're going to have to invest in their upkeep. It's just the way it works. So yeah. Oh, speaking about good customer service, as I was with Matter 3D, another company that's got great customer service is Vistaprint. Now, you probably have seen the ads on your internet. They make business cards, and they're always offering a deal on like 500 business cards for like $10 or something like that. I'm talking Canadian prices, which is really good. And I have ordered business cards from them in the past, and you can design your own right online. They have a design facility on there, which is really, really easy to use, and you get them pretty quick. And no gimmicks here. That is their price. And oftentimes, along with that price, they'll offer free shipping. But they do sell other products. And I showed you some of those back a while ago. Well, this is one right here. I had some mugs. I ordered some mugs that say Idiot Quilter on them. And, but I had a problem with one of these mugs. Okay, the handle broke off in the dishwasher. It just came off, which kind of pissed me off because these weren't cheap. The way Vistaprint works is they're geared more for companies and things like that and business promotions products. And so like one of these mugs is like about $20. That's a lot for a coffee mug, okay? But the more you buy, the cheaper the price gets. And I think I bought 4, but they still came out to something like $18, $19 a piece. And I bought 4 just for myself because I'm special. I wanted my own mug. And yeah, I was a little ticked that the handle had come off. And I use my mugs every day. Okay, so yeah, they get washed on a really regular basis. But what was really bugging me was, okay, if the handle came off on that one, what's to say that I'm not sitting here with a steaming cup of coffee and the handle drops off and it drops in my lap and burns the heck out of me. So I wrote to the company about this. I was very nice, and I basically told them what had happened and what I was worried about. I got a message back within less than a day. I think it came hours after I wrote that message. And they said, so sorry to hear that you had that problem. To be honest, we have never had that complaint before, but we will replace your mug. And please carry on using all of your mugs as you always do, and let us know if that happens again. We would like to know. Well, I thought this says that they care about what they're putting out there, what their products are, the quality. So, yep, I got the mug really quick. It came. But then I got another email. They gave me a credit for the entire cost of the 4 mugs, which was about $53 Canadian. And I thought, wow, not only did you replace the mug, but you gave me back my money on all of the mugs. I didn't ask for that at all. So I thought I'd take advantage of that. So I've used my credit plus a little bit more to order 2 zippered tote bags that have the Idiot Quilter logo on those, and 8 packages of sticky notes with that little emblem on them as well, just to see what that's like. Again, these are not things that I'm giving out to people or stuff like that because I'm cheap. And if I have to mail something out, that costs money. And, you know, Canadian Postal Service is not cheap to start with. They're for me, just for me. But I thought, what the heck? But bottom line here is, I don't think, if you've always been iffy about dealing with a company like Vistaprint, deal with Vistaprint. They're great. Absolutely great. And such a large variety of products. Like if you want a shirt made with your logo on it or things like that. And I don't think their prices are unreasonable. And as I said, the more you order of something, the cheaper it gets as well. And their service is pretty fast. Now, I just got an email from them this morning saying that my order, I can expect that order that I just talked about to arrive June the 2nd. I have a feeling that it'll arrive sooner than that because oftentimes it does with them. And something else that went on this week, and I hear Walter right now upstairs in the shower because he has an appointment at 10:30 to go to a dental surgeon. He went to our dentist this past week, to have a tooth pulled. It had abscessed and whatnot, and so the doctor, basically the dentist, recommended it be pulled. He was a little uptight about that. He's had a tooth pulled before, but you know, like, I don't like dentists, I don't like doctors, because they always find something wrong with you and they cause me pain. So anyways, off Walter went, and our dentist. He's very, very good. We've been going to him for years. And he gets in there and does his thing. And Walter says to him, I can hear the tooth crunching when he's pulling it out, right? Of course, Walter is numbed for all of this, of course, frozen. And this is should be okay. The tooth was loose as well, which the dentist has said it should be really easy because the tooth's already loose. And then he pulled and something came out, but it was not the whole tooth. He only got the top of the tooth. The tooth broke off. I guess the look on the dentist's face was one of sheer horror, to the point where Walter says, is everything okay? And the dentist said, no, and he walked out of the room. And in the meantime, he told the dental hygienist to x-ray that tooth. And he came back in the room, a little bit more collected, and he said, okay, he was profusely apologetic to Walter about this. He said, and he showed Walter the x-ray. The x-ray did not show that there were any cracks in the tooth. But I guess there was. And when he pulled it, the tooth broke off. Yeah, fun, right? And Walter says he was so profusely apologetic about it. And so immediately he did not charge Walter, which was a nice thing. Okay. And said he couldn't go in and do anything about it. It would have to go to a specialist, a dental surgeon. He gave Walter the name of several ones. Walter called one up, and he's got an appointment right now at 10:30 this morning. That's why he's up in the shower to go off. Now, we don't know whether it'll just be a consultation today or whether the dental surgeon will be able to extract the rest of the tooth. Oh, I'm glad I'm not Walter. Just talking about this is making me cringe with it all. So hopefully it'll be good news today. He'll come out of that, and that the rest of it has been taken care of and everything like that. He says he hasn't had any pain or anything since this has happened. But, you know, teeth, dentists, torture, all that kind of thing. So, yeah, that was a real highlight of last week. Yeah, not really a highlight, if you know what I mean. Okay, so what else is coming up? Well, that's about it this week. I hope to get my sewing machine back. I have projects I want to get on with, that kind of thing. And there was something I was going to mention. Okay, lately, and I've already mentioned this before, that one of my videos went over 3,000 views in less than a week. And all of the views on my videos have been steadily going up. And so have my subscribership. And I really appreciate that. That's great. I have discovered that when people are actually asking you to like their video, that it helps. I never thought that did much, but apparently it does. However YouTube writes their algorithms, it sees that, and that somehow makes your videos come closer to the surface of YouTube when people are doing searches or random searches and things, and they find you. And that's what's been happening with me lately. So I want to thank all of you out there that have hit the like button. And I want to thank others of you out there who have become new subscribers. And I want to thank my old subscribers that have been with me since, you know, way back when all I was doing was little craft videos and things like that. I've been doing this for 10 years. And now I've got over 6,200 subscribers. In the big scheme of things on YouTube analytics, that is not a lot, but to me, that's a lot. And what it says to me is that people feel that whatever I am putting out there is worth their effort to watch and to subscribe to me. And that humbles me and makes me very, very appreciative of this. This is not my business. Yes, I'm monetized, but who isn't? I do not make much on that. I've discussed that before, and that's not why I do it. It's a hobby. But, you know, it's nice to know that people appreciate what you're doing, that people are getting something positive from it, and that makes, like I said, that makes me happy. And that's why I do these things as well. with it. If I can share my ideas, my thoughts, and people get something out of it that's positive, then I'm happy. So thank you. I just want to say thank you for all of that. Okay, so that's it for me this week. Tomorrow, Idiot Quilter will go up. New interview. I have a new interview going up with another fascinating person. So be sure to check that out. And So Chatty at the end of the week, and Stephen and Walter live on Sunday. So yeah, lots coming up. I don't know if I'll have any other special videos up, demos this week or not. We'll see. So I hope you have a great week. I hope the weather's nice wherever you are. I hope life isn't getting you down too much, and it's easy for it to do that. There's got to be brighter days ahead. Let's hope for that. And I hope your week is bright. Bye for now.